Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me for this week's Thursday with AARP Wisconsin show. I am Amber Miller, your hostess, and also with AARP Wisconsin. Before we get to our fun-filled show today, just a couple friendly reminders, of course. If you're looking for additional information on virtual events, vaccine, or the Wisconsin budget, you can definitely find more information at aarp.org/WI. And also, please check out the AARP Friendly Voice Initiative. This is an initiative that started last year where you can request a phone call from one of our trained AARP volunteers to just hear a friendly voice on the other end. You could put a request in for yourself or for a loved one, and you could receive a phone call every day, once a week, once a month, but sometimes it's just nice to hear a friendly voice on the other end. We're also still looking for great volunteers. If you are interested in volunteering with AARP Wisconsin, there are still many opportunities available, and you can go to the website below for additional information and to put in your application to volunteer with us. We will get back to you with some additional information. So today's show is a little different, not only because our fabulous topic, but I have a special co-host with me today, Miss Courtney and Clam. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Amber. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. You probably have seen Courtney in the past as one of our guests talking about Fraud Watch Network, as Courtney is with AARP Wisconsin, but I thought today is the best day to have her as a co-host because of her passion for dogs and also rescue dogs, animals in general. So Courtney, I'll turn it over to you just to talk a little bit about today's show.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. So really excited today to be talking about National Rescue Dog Day or Week. So it's just a time for us to celebrate rescue animals and talk about ways that we can help these organizations, whether that's fostering, adopting, volunteering, donating money. And it's just a great time, like I said, for us to think about how we can incorporate dogs into our life. Do you want me to introduce our guest today, or did you want to do that?
I could do the first guest, and then you'll come back on and do the second guest.
Cool. Sounds great.
So as Courtney said, it's National Rescue Dog Day. Of course, every day should be that. But if you are watching right now and you have your own rescue dog, we'd love for you to post a picture below in Facebook, because we love to see dogs, and show the love that you give to them every day on this special day for them. So Courtney, we'll see you back very soon.
Sounds great.
Thank you. So our first guest today is Dr. Preeti Malani, and she is the Chief Health Officer and Professor of Medicine in the Division of Infectious Disease at University of Michigan. So Dr. Malani, so good to have you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amber, for having me.
Absolutely. So as Courtney and I said, today, of course, is National Rescue Dog Day, which should be every single day of the year. But I know there has been a lot of attention around pandemic pets, and focusing more like on families and children, whether it's getting a dog, a cat, especially in 2020 during COVID. But there is a new poll that's out that kind of shows some interesting information that I know you're going to share with us today. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so animals and pets are part of our lives. And especially during this past year, I know even for my own family, our puppy, we got a pandemic puppy in November. He's been an important companion, an important part of our life during this year where the loneliness and social isolation has been really difficult. And the poll that Amber, that you had asked about, some of these data are actually from October 2018, published in 2019. This is from the University of Michigan National Poll on Healthy Aging. And this is actually, it's sponsored in part by AARP. So it's actually fitting that we're chatting about this, but this is a national poll looking at all aspects of health and well-being for the 50 to 80-year-old age group. So we think about health really broadly. So one of the things we asked about was how pets can help your health. And this was a few years ago. About 55% of our respondents reported having a pet, and 2/3 of those had dogs. So dogs are the most popular, followed by cats, and about half of people actually have multiple pets. And in terms of how pets can be helpful, we found that people said the pets help them enjoy life. They feel loved. They reduce stress. they provide a sense of purpose and they help them stick to a routine. And I think that latter piece is something I can certainly attest to, that my puppy Sully gets us up early, gets us out walking around, interacting with our neighbors. I've actually met neighbors that I've lived next to for years that I never knew, that I only met because of the dog. So, pets really help us connect with other people. We can stay physically active. And also, the emotional support is really important. And one of the things we found is, particularly among the oldest age group, the 65 to 80, that many of them reported that the pets help take their mind off of pain, which again, what a remarkable thing that these pets can do. And we actually went back and asked people during the pandemic, like, hey, what, this pandemic pet thing, is this real? And we found that overall about 9% got a new pet. And for people who already had a pet, it was a little bit higher. And I keep hearing from my friends who are veterinarians that they are busy as ever. So I think it is definitely real.
And I can tell you, I know before the show I was telling you, I have 2 senior cats who I just love and adore. And anytime I see a dog, because I do not have a dog, my serotonin just gets crazy, because animals, there's something about them where it just can brighten your day. So I can definitely see how the puppy pandemic, as you stated, really is a real thing. And Dr. Milani, I also know you stated that you were part of the puppy pandemic, that you also
Right.
Adopted a dog.
That's right. And to be honest, I didn't ever grow up with a dog, and my husband never did. We always wanted one, but our lives are so busy. We travel, and the kids always wanted one. And we have one that's grown, is a college student who was home for part of the year. And we have one that's finishing up high school. And we said, if we're going to ever do it, this is the time. And it was kind of on without a lot of notice. And, it's been great. Not great every minute, but it's definitely been great. And he's such a great dog. And he does all those things that we talked about. He really provides love and connection and physical activity.
And what would you say if our viewers right now are, maybe have been on the fence about, is this the right time in my life, being over a certain age, or maybe I'm working full time, but I still want that companionship? What advice would you give to them on next steps if they are looking possibly into the quote unquote puppy pandemic or the cat pandemic, if they're looking for a companion?
Well, different pets require a different amount of energy and physical care. And, an older dog, a rescue dog, for example, might be actually a lot easier for somebody who has maybe less ability to go on long walks. And one of the things we found with our poll is that a lot of people, the majority, in fact, said someone else does help them take care of their pet. So, again, think carefully about what kind of pet would fit well into your life. Maybe it's a cat, maybe it's a dog, maybe it's a puppy. But I don't think you're ever too old to have a pet as a companion. You got to probably have the right pet, because you certainly don't want to get overwhelmed and over your head. But no time like the present.
Running down the street chasing after a puppy might not be in everybody's playbook of like, that's what I want to do every day. And Dr. Milani, I want to give you some just final comments about the poll. And if people are looking for additional information, or if they want to read that, where could they find that information at?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So healthyagingpoll.org is our website, and all the reports are there. And we've had about almost 40 reports at this point. And we've actually done a bunch around the pandemic, including the most recent one, which was on mental health. So check it out, and we can share the link with you as well.
Yes, we will definitely do that, which is healthyagingpoll.org. And we'll also put that in the show notes for today. And as Dr. Milani said, not only are there reports there about the puppy pandemic, but also information, especially about like mental health wellness during COVID. Dr. Milani, I want to thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you. And I love that you are part of the puppy pandemic and giving homes to dogs who just need that extra love. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for considering pets as part of the broader approach to health and well-being.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Milani. Next, we'll bring on Courtney Ann Clam again, and she will actually be our host for the next part of our show. And please remember, if you have any questions for either of our guests, you can post them below on the facebook.com page or our YouTube page, and we will get to them shortly. So, Courtney, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Amber, and thanks again to Dr. Milani for all that great information. I know I'm going to be doing some research after this. But without further ado, I would like to invite our second guest on the show today. Her name is Emma, and she is a volunteer and a foster with Paws, and Me Pet Rescue. Thanks so much for joining us today, Emma.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, and we're excited to have you. So I'll get right into the questions. I know you guys do a lot of great work. So I want to ask you, if people are looking maybe to get a pet, there's some options out there. They can go to pet store, they can find a breeder. Why do you think people should consider getting a rescue pet instead of pursuing those other options?
Dogs that are in a rescue, they're coming from a variety of different situations. They're the ones who really need us. There are a lot of animals out there without homes. Dogs, cats, it's puppy season right now. So there's lots of animals out there that need homes. And they're homeless for whatever reason. Either their owners couldn't care for them anymore, they've been abused in some situations, or they just are not wanted. And giving them a forever home is really just very fulfilling. It's wonderful finding them that love and attention and affection that they really deserve. And it's a wonderful thing to watch. And watching them transform into being these happy, well-adjusted, well cared for dogs is really an amazing transformation. And it goes without saying, when you rescue a pet, you're saving a life. And really, you're saving more than one life. Every time that I adopt out a foster, that gives room for me to bring another foster in. So really, it's just about saving those lives. And there's so many out there. And really, those rescue pets are ones that have so much love to give. And it's very unconditional, and they need us. So.
Yeah, awesome. And I will say I did adopt my own dog from Paws and Me, so I'm particularly thankful for the work you guys do. And I will say one added kind of bonus is when you adopt a rescue, it's a lot cheaper for me to adopt Murphy than to go out and buy some like designer breed dog. And he, like you said, is so full of love and affection, and just watching him become the dog he is has been so gratifying. So that we definitely recommend doing the rescue route. So if people are considering that, what is it like to work with a rescue? What should they kind of know about going into that process?
Yeah, it's really, we try to make it as easy of a process as possible and be there as a support system. It's really rewarding. It's a huge family. It's a big volunteer network. We're really all working together to find the best fit for the family, the person, and for the dog. So we really rely on each other for help, for advice. We create friendships. But going through that process, it's usually going to be looking to see what's available. Most rescues are going to have websites. There's different adoptable pet search engines that you can use, but it's just finding a dog out there that you think might be the right fit, submitting an application, and then going through that process. Every rescue has their own process. With Paws, we make sure that we're doing reference checks. We check with vets to make sure that all of your current pets and past pets are up to date on vaccinations. Just make sure it's going to be a good fit, and that we can trust that the pet is going to be going to a good place. Once you get through that application process, it goes to talking about specific animals. If you had some dogs that you're interested in, you would list that, and you can talk to the fosters about those. And sometimes you're going to find out after talking to them that's not the best fit. But what I really enjoy is I might not have a good fit for you with my current foster, but let me go and find some recommendations for you. So a lot of it is just being open to finding the right fit. Might not be the first one that you picked out online, but we're gonna work behind the scenes and figure out what is going to be the perfect dog for you, and the dog that's going to excel in your family. So it's a really rewarding experience. I think it's about being open sometimes too, on maybe this is the dog that the picture just talked to you, but that's just not the right fit. But we will work together to find you the right fit. And then once you're ready to adopt, you continue to have that network available. So we've got an alumni page on Facebook. Not sure if you're a part of it, but if you aren't, you should be, because it's super fun. And we post pictures, and we like to go out there and we will give advice, and we're always there for support. When things happen, we're always there to help a family that's adopted from us.
That's so great to hear that you guys are so focused on finding a good fit, and that you have a chance to kind of meet the dog before you bring it into your home. I know in my work with the Fraud Watch Network, we've experienced a lot of these kind of like pet scams where people are paying for pets and then they never arrive. So one thing that I would add on to what you mentioned is like if you're working with an organization who is not Ma, Paws, and Me Pet Rescue, maybe because you're outside of their radius or whatever reason, just make sure that you do get a chance to kind of check out the organization and that you get to meet the pet, because that is such a crucial step that you mentioned, making sure it's a good fit. So when I wanted to ask a question about something that you mentioned too, making sure that the dog fits with you and kind of working together to find the right fit. So how does someone know like what kind of dog or other pet is going to fit their lifestyle?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is thinking about your lifestyle. When you're choosing a dog, you want to make sure that it's going to fit your household needs, your family needs, and you have to take into consideration other pets that you already have. So making sure that you know what type of your dog you're looking for, and sometimes you might not know. So it is having a conversation with somebody at the rescue, the foster coordinator, or one of the fosters themselves, to talk about what you're looking for. So for example, if you like to go hiking and you like to go out and do a lot of outdoor activities, maybe a younger dog that's really active and enjoys doing those things, that would be a good fit. Or potentially if you are not one that's going to go out and do a lot of activities, an older dog, a senior dog that's ready to just kind of be that couch potato and have all the pets in the world. And then size is another thing. Of course, if you're a smaller house, you want to go for a little bit of a smaller dog. Maybe you've got a huge fenced in yard and then a bigger dog is something that you'd be interested in. Grooming is another thing. Of course, some dogs need to be groomed continually. I have a few of those myself, or there could be ones that are really low maintenance and you don't need to worry about those things. So it's just taking into consideration your lifestyle, your activity level, the needs of people in your house, size, how long they're going to be alone, and figuring out what that pet profile is. And a lot of times you're not going to be able to pick that from a picture. So I think having those conversations and being open to suggestions is huge when looking for a dog. And that's what we do at Ma Paws. And that's what I love about this organization, is that we're really dedicated to finding the right fit. Even if it's going to take us a little while, we're going to find the right fit. Oh, you're good. Mine are all outside right now. So they're all running around in the fenced-in yard.
Oh my gosh, somebody must be dropping off mail, sorry. Yeah, so that's all great things to consider, and definitely, when you mentioned the grooming, especially, I feel like that's something a lot of people maybe don't consider is like, you're gonna have to take this dog to get haircuts or to get cleaned regularly. So I'm glad that you guys are really thinking. I'm so sorry that Murphy is barking so much.
Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what this show is about. So
yeah, this is life with dogs. Yeah,
it's life with dogs. I know, and yeah, I've got I've got 2 husky mixes, for example. So they're blowing their coats right now. So I've got a wonderful blanket of white fur all over my house. So that happens. And dogs bark. So yeah, it's just figuring out what's going to work for you. And you can find anything in rescue. And that's what I think is great about it. I don't want anybody to ever think, well, I'm looking for something really specific, I can't find it in rescue. I've seen poodles, I've seen, labs, there's of course shepherds, lots of pit bulls. There's anything that you could be looking for, anywhere from a 5-pound dog up to a 150-pound dog.
Yeah. And I think, like you mentioned, keeping an open mind is so important. Even one of my friends adopted a mixed breed, and I was kind of like hesitant a little bit because there's stigma around certain breeds, and then it's like getting the exposure to them has been so like it's just so cuddly and affectionate. And I think that's something that you guys do a great job of too, is being like, hey, these dogs are full of love. Like, let us show you no matter what breed they are or what size they are, like they just want to love you. So I think you guys do a great job of, like you said, helping people keep an open mind and figuring out what works for them and what they're looking for.
Right. And I think that's huge, is don't worry about the breed. I mean, like you said, there's breed stigma out there and we're working really hard against that. We're huge bully lovers at Ma, Paws, and Me. I've got 2 myself. And they're a wonderful breed that just is misunderstood. So I think it's looking at the dog as an individual. Don't look at their breed. It's just, this dog is an individual just like a person is. And what is their life going to be like, and what do they need? So
perfect. Yeah. So let's say, I've gone through this whole process. I've met a few dogs. We found one that is an absolute perfect fit for my household, my lifestyle, everything. What should I expect when I bring this dog home? Like, what do I maybe need to buy that I'm not thinking about beforehand? Can you give us some kind of tips for when I'm getting ready to bring a dog home?
Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately, we want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with the decision because it is a lifetime, this is a lifetime commitment. You have to make sure that you're ready for it. The biggest thing with dogs is you need to give them time to decompress. With a rescue dog, they could have had a very traumatic past. You know, with Paws, we're bringing dogs up from down south. So they may have just gotten off of a transport and it's just a really crazy time for them. Then they're going to go home with a new person. So that decompression time is really important. So making sure that you know when they're going to come home, you give them that safe place and understand that they're going to go through some emotions in the next couple days, couple weeks. So decompression time, give them time to relax. They're going to be scared. They're going to be a little stressed out potentially. And something that we like to say in rescue is the rule of three. So there's 3 days for a dog to really decompress and get a little bit more comfortable, 3 weeks for them to understand your routine, and then 3 months for them to really bond and feel like a part of the family. Of course, that timeline varies for different animals. Puppy that is just, excited about everything could take them way less time. An older dog that maybe had a really difficult past, it could take them longer. I've certainly had dogs in the past that have taken longer than that. And it's just, you have to be patient with them. You have to understand what they're going through and be ready to work with them on it and realize that they need that time to decompress. As far as supplies, though, there's lots of things, of course, that they could need. It's really going to depend on the individual dog, of course. Some might need more things than others, but the typical, what we say is, usually you're going to want a kennel, you're going to want the leash, the collar, food, all that stuff. But that's certainly something that we help with telling people what they should be prepared for and what they need. So.
Awesome. It's great that you guys are so prepared on the front end because so many people, like we've talked about during this pandemic, are maybe adopting their first pet or now experiencing, having multiple pets for the first time. So it's great to know that you guys are there as a resource for continued success for everyone. You mentioned, it takes time for a dog to learn your schedule, and we've been talking about these kind of pandemic puppies this whole time. So one thing I'm wondering if you could give us some insight into, a lot of people have been working from home and either they got new dogs or they've had dogs that have adjusted to this new work from home schedule. Is there something that you could kind of recommend to us or tips for as we're maybe getting ready to think about changing our schedules again in some cases? How can we help our dogs be successful with that too?
Yeah, and ultimately I went through that myself. I was working somewhere else and now I'm remote, and I did adopt 2 dogs myself during the pandemic. But I think it is just giving them that time to get used to that new routine. So as things change, understand that they might be stressed out and you might need to get them used to that different schedule. I think with the dogs getting used to you being home all the time, of course, there is that fear of separation anxiety, but that's something that you can really work with. So what you can always do is start, leaving them alone for little bursts of time while you're building it up so that they're getting used to it. Make sure you've got plenty of activities for them to do when you're gone. So if you do kennel them or if they are out in the house, you can give them different interactive toys, Kong toys. I like to put peanut butter in there and freeze them, maybe put some other little chewy toys in there, bully sticks, things like that. There's treat balls that you can give them so that it's fun when you're gone. Don't make it a big deal when you leave because they're going to get more hyped up. So it's really just making that everything's cool. We're good. Everything's okay. But I think just making sure that you're understanding that they might need time to adjust. They were used to you being home all the time. And if you're going to go back to work, they might need time to adjust. There's also pet services out there. And I actually have this myself. I have somebody that comes over a couple times a week to let my dogs out midday so that they can get out and run around and have that interaction. Daycare is another thing that I've had my dogs go to daycare in the past. They used to go to daycare twice a week. So there's a lot of different options that we certainly don't want people to think I'm going back to work and I can't make this work. You absolutely can make it work. And there's a lot of things that you can do to make it work. Neighbors too. We've got dogs all over the place in this neighborhood. So if you need to have somebody come let them out in the middle of the day, use those neighbors. Or you can even, if you have a dog that maybe is dog selective and you can't do daycare, a lot of daycares do day boarding as well so that they won't be alone and they can go out. But there's a lot that can be done. And ultimately, if you've worked with a rescue, reach out. we've got trainers that we can talk to and we can get help from. So we just want to support people and make it successful and make sure that they're able to keep and feel comfortable keeping that animal happy.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think Amber is back. I don't know if you want to do any wrap-up comments, and then Amber will have her usual wrap-up too.
Oh, so Emma, I'll leave it with some final words if you want to share. If our viewers right now are saying, yep, this show right here sold me, I'm going to look into dog rescue, what would be some final comments that you would share with them?
I mean, really, I highly recommend dog rescue. I think rescuing it's one of the most fulfilling things in the world. I have 5 rescues myself, so I'm definitely biased to that. But it's the thing that I love about rescue is you meet some amazing people. The people that I have, the fosters that I have adopted from, I've become friends with, and ultimately that led me to fostering myself. And that's been a really rewarding process to see these animals go and live their best lives, and you get updates. It's amazing, and to be part of that is just so fulfilling. So if you're thinking about it, reach out. Start by volunteer. If you're not ready to adopt yet, volunteer. Get involved. We have lots of things that you don't have to foster to volunteer, but just reach out and see what you can do. There's tons of different things that can get done and get you involved, and maybe eventually then you're going to be ready to take on a dog of your own.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Emma. We really appreciate you being on today. And then Darren, if we could just keep Courtney on for a moment. Before I get to my final comments, Courtney, we know we heard Murphy barking in the background, that sweet little baby doll, but I also want to point out that you have a picture of him over your shoulder. So you got a little picture of him made, which I find adorable.
It was a Christmas gift. My sister commissioned a painting of Murphy, so yeah. I would invite him to come say hi, but he's very he doesn't care about, I know cats are very much like, I want to be on camera, but Murphy is he's not about it. So.
He's camera shy. Yep, he's camera shy. And Courtney, I love that you were with us today, not only as a fabulous co-host, but also with firsthand experience with having rescue dogs. I want to thank you so much for being my co-host today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And of course, with our, before we get to our final comments, Darren, our producer, who does all the magic and stuff behind the scenes, also has 4 dogs. So I want to say there's a lot of dog lovers. And this dog right here, Sully, is Dr. Milani's dog that she got recently during COVID. So he's very adorable and so cute. Very cute. So I want to thank everybody so much, of course, for joining us today. If you are seeing this on replay, feel free to share this on your page and join us for next Thursday's show, which is next Thursday at noon. And it's all about AARP, Veterans and Military Families. So we're going to celebrate that, of course, for the month of May. So that's live here next Thursday at noon. We also have a couple upcoming events that might be of interest to you. So Healthy Lifestyle Series next week about nutrition, cyber driver safety, technology, bicycling safety when you are 50 plus. And this is part of the AARP Wisconsin Passport to the Outdoors. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to the AARP Wisconsin page, as that will be launching at the end of this month. And also movies for grown-ups. You can find all that information at the website below or the phone number. And lastly, is the next Small Dollar Big Impact Grant, which is due June 16th. We're taking applications, and if you remember, these are small grants up to $1,000 for innovative, creative ideas that make an impact in your community. So if you're looking for additional information, you can go below at aarp.org/capital WI and then lowercase SDBI. So I want to thank everybody and thank all our guests. Remember, it's National Rescue Dog Day, so give your animals a little bit more love today, but also it should be every day that we're rescuing animals. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and until next Thursday, be safe.